Bitcoin put in a nice 5% move. I'm about to show you a 16% daily ADA candle. But this video is a cautionary one. And in this video, I'll explain exactly why. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you so much for coming by. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. Let's jump into it real quick. Before we really backtrack and start this video, there's a 16% daily candle for Cardano. We're going to break it down in the Cardano part of this video. I want to roll back everything though. Go over here, S&P 500 index. Nice little green daily candle for traditional markets today. So this plays a really big role. This entire story that we see on this daily chart and what is happening here plays a really big role in crypto, Bitcoin, Cardano, your favorite altcoin, whatever it is. And we really need to pay attention to that story. We could see a reversal here. There could be a rally here in the making. You know what happened today? We should talk about it briefly. Interest rate news happened, and this article touches on why the stock market soared Wednesday. It wasn't so much with the news that there was going to be 0.5% increase in interest rate. It was what was said and the remarks that were said from Jerome Powell. So comments, and here it is. Investors took heart from comments that Fed Chair Jerome Powell made in the press conference following the release of the central bank's decision. Asked point blank whether he anticipated that increases greater than 0.5 percentage point would be necessary, Powell said that such large boosts weren't currently on the table for the central bank. That's it. That led many investors to breathe a sigh of relief. It seems like markets are looking for anything positive, anything. Just a little ray of sunshine is all. That's all. Even if it's just for this short, brief moment of satisfaction and hopium. Having feared that that 3/4 point rate increases might be in the cards to combat inflation. I highlighted this part of the article. Unfortunately, there's no way to be sure if the stock market has finally hit bottom or whether today's gains will prove fleeting. Isn't that the story, everybody? At the end of the day, we have no idea what's going to happen next. Nobody does. This world has, especially right now, has so many uncertainties in it, right? And we don't know what's going to happen. And so this is why we track it daily, and that's why we anticipate things. And this is also why I use technical analysis. It's such a strong roadmap. And it's also such a strong container of emotions for our emotions. Put those emotions in a container, put it aside, get rid of the emotions. We remain emotionless as we view what is the roadmap for crypto. And let's start doing that. The roadmap is the charts. The roadmap is the confirmations that we wait for. The roadmap is the upside scenarios and the downside scenarios, and it's just us being in the moment and preparing for these things, and understanding targets and understanding bullish and bearish confirmation. So first, I really just want to start here. It's so simple. And we don't have to make this so complicated. This is data we've been tracking for really years. It's been years we've been tracking this data. And so right now, the biggest hurdle from a technical analysis perspective is this 20-week moving average. And you can see it right here on the weekly chart, right around $41,300. Like, that's the area where we start getting bullish if Bitcoin is closing a weekly candle above that area. So from that perspective, even from this midterm reversal, or, in a macro scheme of things, an uptrend from where we've bottomed out here potentially, we wait for that area, the 20-week moving average, that green line that you see there. But we can't ignore, and this is the caution aspect of it, we can't ignore what has happened. The 20-week moving average crossing below the 50-week moving average. We've talked about this. If that happened, we have to be very ready for what's next. And there is so much data on these charts as we start zooming out that really, in my view, and I know there's different on-chain data that is maybe is not so consistent with what I'm about to say, and that could be a great thing. It could be a bullish thing. But we at the very least have to be careful right now, because when we start looking back at previous cycles, there are a lot of similarities, and we've talked about this with what happened here shortly after the 20-week moving average cross on Bitcoin, right? And we know what happened. Bitcoin capitulated to that 20-week moving average. And we talk about this potentially happening. And then we even go back here 20-week moving average crossing below the 50-week moving average. Bitcoin capitulated shortly after. And we're in a very similar scenario. And if we even go over here, this is my very zoomed out macro chart. I charted this in 2018. It's very messy, but just hear me out for a very brief second. Basically, right now, Bitcoin is like 720 days or so past the 2020 halving. Now, if we go back and we look at the similar time frame, so this is 742 days past the 2016 halving. Look, Bitcoin puts us right where that 20-week moving average crossed that we were just talking about. And then go back to the previous cycle, 742 days, right after the 20-week moving average crossed below the 50-week moving average. If this trend continues, we have to be careful for capitulation. That's just the end of the day. We can track on the zoomed in charts. We just looked at the weekly chart, right? We talked about the 20-week moving average. It's just above Bitcoin right now where it is. We talked about that. We go to the daily chart and we say, okay, let's see what happens here, right? We want to see that bullish confirmation where Bitcoin does something different than it did in those previous cycles back here, right? Meaning just not rejection like this at the 20-week moving average. We don't want to see rejection here. We want to see something bullish, a divergence from that, and that's what we're waiting for. And it could be a move away. It could be very close to happening, but it starts here on the daily. We're at current resistance at the 20-day moving average up to the 50-day moving average, 41,900, 42,000, let's call it. And in here is that 20-week moving average that we just looked at. How is Bitcoin going to interact with this entire channel? And it isn't the biggest channel, right? We're looking at, to the upside, up to the 50-day moving average, a 5 to 6% move for Bitcoin. And we can start talking about, wow, Bitcoin is really, it's doing something different now. Not only from an on-chain perspective and data, but it's doing something different from a cycle perspective. And that could be big. And so it's very close to that move, but it's like, is it going to happen? Bitcoin is at that resistance right now. And this is what I'm watching on the charts. I want all of us just to be prepared, to be careful of rejection. We can be mindful that there could be a bullish confirmation. We can be watchful of that happening. However, we're not there. There's been no bullish confirmation. So we're vigilant. We remain vigilant and we track it and we see. So let's see what we maybe wake up tomorrow in terms of Bitcoin, and let's use caution. If Bitcoin pumps, trust me, we're all going to enjoy that. We know that. Like, let's just put that aside. Let's wait and see if that happens. In the meantime, there's kind of a pressing matter, and that is if there is rejection and Bitcoin falls. You want to really be prepared for that, because it's a different concept. When crypto is falling or capitulation is happening, it's just a way different environment to operate in, to make decisions in, than when Bitcoin's just cruising to the upside and breaking resistance. So that's what I wanted to throw out there in terms of Cardano or Bitcoin. Now going over to Cardano, here's the monthly. And so in this environment where Bitcoin and markets do actually get this bullish move, whether it's midterm or long term to the upside, Cardano is set to truly, in my view, outperform. And we're going to use caution on these charts as well, because Cardano has not put in its own bullish confirmation. And that's after a 16% daily candle that was just put in. I'm excited about it. It's fun. I love tracking these markets. It's just exciting to do that with you. But we have to be cautious. And so with Cardano, we have Vasil hard fork. I did a video earlier today about this. If you didn't see it, check it out. Some really compelling data in terms of Cardano being or seeing a strong move for ADA on these charts going into the Vasil hard fork. And that's why I say I could see ADA really outperforming crypto markets if there's a bullish move in general. So that's a monthly, just a quick snapshot. But here's where we start digging in and we say, all right, what needs to happen for that bullish confirmation? First things first, similar to Bitcoin, the 20-week moving average. Cardano, a little further away. That's sitting up there around $1.04. If we're looking at how far away Cardano is from that, we're looking at another 15, 16% for Cardano to even test that resistance. Cardano completely not out of the woods just yet. It's been just a downtrend of lower lows and lower highs for Cardano. And if we're leading into a potential capitulation area, if Bitcoin does fall, and this is a short-term little rally that happened today even, be very prepared for those targets. We've been talking about nonstop for Cardano down in the 50 cent range down by the 200-week moving average. Just be prepared for it. Just mentally visualize it. You don't have to like it, but visualize it and be ready. That's all we can do, right? Emotionless in these markets. We understand upside, we understand downside, and now we can clearly make our decisions on what to do, on how to handle our fiat that's on the side, and how we want to, and how we're comfortable doing that. Everybody's different. So that's Cardano on the weekly. Now here's the daily. This is the telling story, right? There's a nice 16% candle. Look at that daily candle. That's really great. And I just talked about in the video earlier today, this 20-day moving average crossing above the 50-day was a really big move, and it could play out to be a really big move in the macro scheme of things, right? We want to see the compression of these moving averages, even if it's just like takes a while longer. We want to see these kind of squeeze into each other. Maybe it plays games with us before that reversal. That's what a reversal looks like a lot of the times, just compression of the moving averages, leaving us guessing. And so if that plays out that way, that is okay, but we wait for confirmations while we're tracking it. So here's where we are. 20-day moving average, right around 86 cents. 50-day moving average, right around 97 cents. Remember, the 20-week moving average, that really big resistance is up here. I think I said it right around $1.04, $1.05, I believe. So all up in here, this whole entire area from where Cardano is right now, we're looking at around 16% area of resistance. Cardano still has to overcome that. So on this short-term chart, we can do nothing more but anticipate that Cardano sees resistance here. And if Cardano puts in another strong daily move, or maybe it consolidates sideways a little bit and then puts in a strong daily move above those areas, similar to if Bitcoin was to break above its own 20-week moving average and close above, if Cardano does something similar, then we start talking about maybe there's a longer-term bullish reversal in play. But we track these things, and it's grueling. It's grueling because at the end of the day, even in this downtrend that's already awful, right, to track all the time, we understand the challenges and the hurdles ahead for Cardano to even put in a bullish confirmation. A lot has to happen, because even if we get that 50-week or the 20-week moving average, Cardano's closing above that around $1.05. Let's just say we're closing a weekly candle. We still have to break this previous swing high. We still have to break the 200-day moving average over here. And it takes a lot to put in a long-term bullish reversal, and we have to track it. But we have to be careful and vigilant along the way in doing so. I will say this. We are in this green rectangle, and I did a video about this green rectangle leading into the Vasil hard fork, what it means, comparable to the previous 3 hard forks, Alonzo, Mary, and Shelley. And it's very speculative, but look at this playing out just as it has before. I don't know if it will continue. I don't, but this data and tracking it is awfully fun, and it's awfully compelling. So just look, right, just days into the last green box leading into Alonzo, if we speculate, if we get a move like that, look at this. Check that out. I mean, could Cardano be testing? And right here is a very key long-term macro Fibonacci resistance. Could that be the path for Cardano to test and maybe bounce off of, back down? This could be a really, really long-term story. It probably will be, right? In terms of Cardano ever breaking all-time high, right? Which is all the way back here. It's not going to be, I don't think, anyway, a quick just set it and forget it. We broke all-time high. There's going to be a story there. It's going to be a path, a journey. But this is a swing high to swing low to Fibonacci resistance right here. Could that be the path for that? It's very speculative, I know, but these things happen fast, and we've seen it time and time again. Will Cardano do it? Time will tell. We track it. We're cautioned. We're utilizing caution, and we're just having fun doing it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.